I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person, that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
Welcome to the podcast, the number one basketball podcast in the universe. That's right. Welcome. Number one, baby. We're here with my amigos, my compadres. Evan, how you feeling, brother? How you doing today, man?
New Year, same swag. I'm here, happy to be here. Good to see you.
Yes, sir. 2025 in the house. Lou, Sak Passe, boss. Happy Independence Day, my guy. How you feeling, brother?
Man. Nula. For those who don't know what that means, it means we here back at it. You already? New Year,
sir.
And cool.
Yeah, man. How much soup did you have, brother? How much soup did you have, man? You know?
Oh, man. 2 bowls per house.
Hey, love to hear it, man. My mother-in-law hooked me up, man. She went and got me a big old leader, man. So, hey. Anyway, Pod Mamba in the background, making sure we continue to be the number one basketball podcast in the universe. Happy New Year to you, Pod Mamba. Let's get right into it, man, because we have a lot to get into. A lot of messiness, a lot of rumors, gossip, and toxicity, maybe?
Was it?
Hearsay, maybe? I don't know.
Clean up on
allegations. Yeah, we'll see. Let's start off with Fox Sports. So there is a lawsuit out there that is filed that is very salacious, to say the least. Salacious. And there's so many angles, but like I said, we're going to keep it short. Long story short, there's an ex-employee, a hairstylist for one Joy Taylor, who is filing a lawsuit for sexual battery against Skip Bayless and Joy Taylor. But in said lawsuit, she also airs out a lot of dirty laundry and a lot of inappropriate activity between Joy, H.O., and the other gentleman. What's his last name? Dixon, right?
Charles
basically,
Dixon.
Yes. Basically saying that Joy slept her way to the position and also was willing and ready to make false allegations in order to get people out of her way to get where she needs to be. Wild, fellas. Wild. So, we don't really get into the gossip and rumors, unless it's straight gossip and rumors here on this show. Yeah. But this was so big and so huge because allegedly Skip Bayless dropped 1.5 on that. 1.5
at least was
on that.
Was willing to. That's crazy.
That is wild. So I was going to ask a question, but you know what? I can answer it already because Evan and I are married and we would drop $20 billion on our wife because that's our treasure, because they're worth everything. But outside of our wives, I don't think I've ever met anybody I dropped 1.5 million dollars. But
respectfully,
before we get into all that, there's so much. Ev, I'll start with you. As somebody who is an avid just sports watcher in general, right? And that's one thing I give you credit for. You don't just watch basketball. You literally watch every sport. I think you watch water polo, rugby, cricket. I don't really think there's a sport that you don't watch, honestly. The Olympics is just really like a kid in a candy store for you because you get it all. How do these lawsuits reflect on this sports entity, Fox Sports News? Does this hurt their branding?
Well, what's funny about what you just said is that I watch all the sports that I watch so that I can stay away from the reality TV and the messiness that's on all the other channels.
I mean, it's not far off.
This guy stinks!
But thank you, Pop Mamba. But the first thought I had when I heard all this, honestly, was, I bet Shannon's glad that he got out of there. Shannon Sharp, because when you have a allegation like
Talk
this,
about it.
it doesn't just paint the people that are named in a bad light. It makes you look at everybody a little side, a little suspect, right? What's Keyshawn up to? What's
Uh-oh.
Paul Pierce up to? He's got
Birds
a
of
little
a
messy
feather.
past. Exactly, right? So nobody comes out of a story like this clean when you hear something like that. And you always, in the back of your mind, you always think of it when you're watching, and you have, they bring attractive women onto these shows to interact with men and whatnot, and you don't want to shun them for their professional acumen, but you do think about stuff like this in the back of your mind, and so when allegations like this happen, it paints a bad light for everybody.
Man, well, let's be real though. Just because Shannon got out when he did was smart. Based on how long this may have been going, that doesn't necessarily mean he may not pop up at some point, if it's true. You know what I mean? Because, hey, him and Skip had a show together, okay? There are pictures of him in Mali, being out before, at a game or two, and so on and so forth. So I think this thing is probably going to get messier before it gets better. You know what I mean? If we keep it real. And I think in general, as Fox is what it is. It's just, Fox has always been messy all around when it comes to news. So I like I said, man, I expect for this to get messier before it gets cleaner.
Yeah, man, it's really messy. I know we joke about it, but what's unfortunate about it to me is that if these allegations are proven to be true, I think it does a disservice for women in sports journalism. Like F says, we know that women, especially women of color or who are not of American descent, have had to struggle to get respect in sports journalism. But I think that there's been a lot of headway made. And I think this is just a huge blow to that effort and to that credibility. And I hope that this is something that, won't tarnish, like Ev says, bystanders or women who may have a chance to do something better, or may have a chance to make a name for themselves. I hope this whole messiness doesn't tarnish them. So, it's tough all the way around. It's foolishness. Don't get me wrong. It's foolishness. And at this point, when it's being recorded, it's all allegations. Nothing has been proven in the court of law just yet. But we also know sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire, man. So it's wild out here. All right, guys. So let's move on to our brand of foolishness, our brand of rumors and gossip, which is Miami. And I wish I would have known, man, that it was going to get this amped up. I was in Miami this past week. I could have drove by Jimmy's house, you know what I'm saying, and chopped it up with him. Got an exclusive interview for the pod. Because we are the number one basketball podcast in the universe. I'm tripping. I let you guys down. I dropped the ball on that one. That's a turnover on me, okay? Turnover on me. I need to do better. So things are heating up in this whole Jimmy Butler thing, man. He comes out and makes... See what I did there? Thank you for catching my punt. See, it's a good teammate out here, man. He comes out and makes some disparaging comments to reporters saying that he's lost his passion and love for the game. Doesn't know if he can get it back by staying here. The organization fires back. They suspend him for 7 games for, comments and actions detrimental to the team. It's just going back and forth here. This is really just falling apart. Credit to Shams for pointing this out earlier when he initially reported it, basically saying they were at the point of no return and that this relationship is basically irreparable. They're headed towards divorce, guys. They're headed towards divorce.
Wait, does that mean that Shams is vindicated?
Who apologizes to Shams?
That's what I want to know.
That's a good question, though.
Was he vindicated? because we also got what was it exactly that was that his agent was pushing back on exactly.
Yeah, Ev reported on this a couple weeks ago that they were beefing on Twitter. Ev, you go out, man. Toot your horn, man. You were right on this, man.
The agent tried him up all the way, man. Shams had to come on TV, defend his credibility and everything. And now we're sitting here today where Jimmy Butler basically said, my New Year's resolution is I'm not holding back how I feel about anything, especially not the Miami Heat. Comes out, makes it clear, don't want to be here anymore. I feel he did it somewhat professionally to be as foot down as he was. You know, you think about previous times we've been in this case, right? Anthony Davis, he wouldn't come out and say it, but his actions spoke louder than words, even down to the shirts he was wearing. Dame took probably a year too long to really say what he wanted to say, that he wanted.
I need you to relax. I need you to relax.
It's okay.
I need you to relax. This was not in the pre-show game. These was not in the notes. These were not in the bullet points. I don't even know how Dame got in this right now.
Okay, I'm getting off now. Heat. We're talking heat. That's
well, stay on topic, sir, because this is wild.
Oh, man.
Although his is free agency, I give him a pass, but didn't even give any warning. He just up and left. So you get cupcake memes. And the coup de grace of them all was the way that Dwight Howard just totally mangled his way out of Orlando over 2 years, even saying he wanted to leave and then walking back his statements on it. So I commend Jimmy Butler for making it clear. He clearly tried to make it clear without saying it publicly for a number of weeks. It wasn't working. You got an organization that comes out and says, we're not trading you under any circumstances. So Jimmy had to push the button a little further. Maybe not the nuclear button, but close enough that they suspended him for 7 games. My only question, and then y'all take it where you want to go from there, is 7 games for comments? That's a little heavy to me. There must have been some stuff going on behind the scenes.
100%. Don't forget, this is also Minnesota Timberwolves Jimmy. Jimmy ain't changed.
But we heard that story. That's what I'm waiting to hear. What's really going on for the 7 games? Because comments isn't 7 games.
No, you're 100% right. Well, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, he's acting up like he did in Minnesota in that locker room or in that practice court. He's doing something. But I do want to address another angle on this, which I don't think. Well, it's now being addressed by some commentators out there, but I don't think initially it was being addressed. Did Pat Riley fail Jimmy Butler, and did he fail the Heat? And I'm gonna point this out to you, Lou, because I think Jimmy is getting the brunt of this, as he should, right? We're player driven as a league. We're always focusing on the player narrative. So Jimmy's out there in the limelight. He's the disgruntled star and everything like that. But how much accountability is Pat taking for not giving the Heat another superstar that they needed, given that they're already known for overachieving on their, anterior or other players, but you still need a superstar in this league. You need at least 2 to make it somewhere. Why is Pat not getting the criticism that he deserves during this whole Jimmy Butler debacle?
I mean, I think in part is for what you're saying, right? Because they've been able to have that success in the postseason, right? And they've been able to make these deep runs. And it's like, well, okay, well, what it keeps coming down to, is Jimmy able to get them over the hump? When Hero gets back and he's on the floor and he's healthy, they'll be able to get over the hump. Bam will learn another 2-3 more moves that'll get them over the hump. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just a matter of that there are a couple of pieces that they already have that haven't necessarily got actualized, but close enough where there is enough faith in them. Like Pat had already said, he has trouble trading guys, right? So he keeps those pieces, probably holds on to them for a little too long, a victim of his past success. But yeah, I mean, he should have got criticized for not moving on from Hero years ago. I mean, he should have been moved on from Hero and look for some other pieces to give to Jimmy. And like you're right, they should have had another superstar, and I'm sure there was opportunity for that, for them to bring somebody else in to be able to actually bring them over the hump that they were looking for. I mean, there's been in the complaints about Jimmy. Part of, I'm sure this also contributes to his suspension, is saying, oh well, he's showing lack of effort during the regular season, and he really doesn't decide to turn it on until the postseason. But in all reality, if LeBron is doing that, nobody's really gonna say much, because he said, well, he's older. Jimmy is older now, right? So he has to pick and choose, kind of preserve his game for as best as he can. We've seen Leonard do it, right? Time and time again, and he got a chip out of it, right? Over in Toronto. So I think, the pieces that are around him, Pat has failed him in not bringing in some guys that really could bring them over the finish line.
That's not the example I would have used, Kawhi Leonard, because if that's the example we're using, Jimmy's got to go.
The only reason why I brought up Kawhi is because we know this is what Kawhi does. I'm not gonna play for real during the season.
Hey man, he came out he had his showing against the Hawks this past weekend. Came out.
Nobody
It's
cares
not
about
saying
what
much.
Kawhi Leonard does now.
It's the Hawks, but yeah. But go ahead, Av.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean,
Oh, here comes the Pop Mamba. Celtics.
The only reason why they beat the Hawks is because the Hawks gave it their all against the Lakers the night before.
Oh, here you go. Here you go.
Bogdanovich hadn't played for 5 games before the Laker game, played the Lakers, and then took a night off against the Clippers. I'm just pointing out facts.
So they went out after the Lakers game, hung out.
That's what it was. They went
Had
out.
a little bit of a
No,
hangover
they just
coming before the
knew they
Clippers
had
game.
to go all out against the Lakers, and then when they play the Clippers or the Warriors or whoever these teams have to play after the Lakers, they just take the night off. It's not their Super Bowl anymore.
Business decision.
No. See, you all want to fall for this. I'm not letting him hijack this.
You're not letting it go. Go ahead.
No.
Defend it, Av.
Absolutely. So you asked about Pat. Pat's Teflon down, literally down there, man. He's scandal proof. He won't get blamed for anything. Two finals in 4 years. Tyler Hero looking solid this year. Borderline all-star in the East. The team itself looking better than expected as Jimmy pouts and does what he's doing, right? The key is they don't want to pay him no extension, paying him $52+ million.
Yeah, this is about money.
That's all it is. And to be fair, LeBron, outside of his sabbaticals, he shows up every game to play, right? Jimmy takes off too much.
My G, that is
counterintuitive
what you just said.
Man.
Like whether they're just sabbatical. Of course, if you're not on your sabbatical, you show up. Unless you just saying
LeBron,
that Jimmy on the floor doesn't show
then
up.
he gonna give you 75 games.
But here's my thing, though. As much as I feel you, Ev, with Pat Riley and all that stuff. But I'm gonna be real. I'm convinced, and maybe it's just me aligning with the talk that's out there right now. But Pat, man, he's been riding the coattails of Spo and the development that they have as him not spending money to get another superstar. You get what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, when you get these players, right, who overachieve, they still have a ceiling that is much lower than that of a superstar who's just achieving.
Dave Vincent has a ceiling?
I'm telling you, Duncan Robinson, and you mean to tell me you're getting prime Jimmy Butler. And Dan Le Batard said this, Jimmy Butler has not looked as good as he's looked anywhere else than he has on the Heat. One can argue Chicago towards the end of his tenure, maybe, but Jimmy Butler has looked his best in the Heat uniform. And you squandered that by pairing him with the likes of Duncan, injured Tyler Hero. You got LA Fitness Kyle Lowry. Like, what are you doing here? You get what I'm saying? What are you doing here? I think that he takes as much as the blame as Jimmy Butler for this whole debacle. And you can't get mad at Jimmy for saying, pay me. I took you to 2 finals. Give me my money.
On my
I'm
back.
not-
No, I don't disagree.
Yeah, on my back, literally. You saw the meme of him over the stanchion just tired.
Yeah.
You give him
Like-
one post move,
like
Bam out of
Popeye.
bio. Get out of here, man.
It's Jimmy like the
disagree.
Popeyes worker.
I'm telling you, Jimmy's sick and tired.
I don't disagree with anything that you just said. What I'm saying though is, if you look at it from Pat's standpoint, the team he built made it to 2 finals in 4 years, and he's not paying Jimmy going forward. That just is what it is.
That's
Now, I
that whole
agree.
happy to be here, man, and I hate that.
I mean,
That's not true Heat culture.
There's
I'm happy to
a
be
lot
here.
of teams that be able to do that.
Pat Riley's he acts like Coach Carter. You know how Coach Carter's like, if you don't do what I say, you're out of here. You have to do 50 push-ups, 1,000 sit-ups. He's just, I love Pat, but ex-Laker coach, but it is what it is. He's not with the culture anymore. He does it the old style. These players don't listen to that stuff anymore, and now he's being a bitter old man, and he's pushing away their best player away from the Heat.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Which was the last team, if you can remember, which was the last team that grinded out a championship? And here's what I mean. As far as talent and superstars, they were lacking.
Detroit Pistons.
Which was the last team that grinded out a championship?
Pistons.
No, I agree. It's gonna be the Pistons.
You get what I'm saying? Those days are
No,
gone.
Pistons.
No.
You can't grind it out anymore, Pat. Like, you're trying to do that, and I guess what I'm saying is we're getting distracted, because Ev points this out all the time. We often get distracted by the overachieving, right? Because I'll get this. Listen, as a Portland Trailblazers fan, there's been seasons upon seasons we're overachieving. I'm like, yeah, we're going all the way, baby, just to be knocked out the first round by the stupid Golden State Warriors. Listen, I'm here, and I get it. You feel me? So don't let the little sparkling fool you. Like, that was your championship. Like, that was as far as your team was going to get. That's what I'm arguing. Like, that was it. And Pat, is somebody who's supposed to be the man when it comes to seeing personnel and getting people there. You got to understand these times are changing, bro. You can't grind out a championship anymore. Not in this. You see, look, every team has 2 superstar standard, bro. Come on,
10
man.
seconds. 10 seconds on it, and I leave it alone.
And then we'll move forward.
Yeah. I'm taking my 10 seconds. I don't disagree with you. They haven't got a quality free agent since LeBron. So your point stands
Hassan
from
Whiteside.
that standpoint. Miami being a destination standpoint is a fallacy. It doesn't happen in real life. So
Justice Winslow. Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going. My bad. Go ahead, man.
No, that's it.
Okay, I'm just saying, these are the draft picks. This is what
No one's gonna bring up dump truck Kyle Lowry.
I did. Remember?
He did. He said.
I said LA Fitness Kyle Lowry.
Oh, okay.
All
I'm saying
is
like
that-
as previous free agents that they received.
Oh, yeah.
Free agents,
I'm
right?
saying-
Or he got traded
Yeah.
to the Heat.
I believe he was a free agent, but like
Free agent.
Yeah, just get.
Anyway.
Udonis has him off the payroll and pay somebody who wasn't.
Anyway, a washed up Olem Depot. Anyway, all right. Injured Scary Terry. Okay, all right. We're gonna keep going. I'm sorry. I could go for years.
Are you gonna keep going?
I am. I probably am. And this is off the dome. I'm not even looking anything up. This is just foolishness. I'm just
As a Knicks fan, I have no complaints. Keep going.
keep going.
He's loving this.
I'm just saying, man. You might as well. You should have kept Chris Bosh and throw out Whiteside. That's what I'm saying. That's the last talent that you had. That's the last talent that you have.
They did do way better and didn't give him an ownership stake.
Thank you. And then you had Deion Waiters. Anyway, all right. I'm just saying. Yeah, Deion Waiters. All right, cool. All right, guys. We're going to go down memory lane, man. Some nostalgia for you guys, man. We had superstars, Clash of the Titans in the NBA Finals. You have young LeBron, young KD, young Westbrook, Harden before the huge beard. They're meeting in the finals. These young guns, exciting finals. Are we destined to see that again right now? I mean, I'm just saying, Cavs are number one in the East. OKC is number one in the West. They're both on double-digit winning streaks. Cavs at 10, OKC's at 14 or 15. Excuse me if I'm off one or wrong. You said 14?
15.
15. Sorry, I don't want to discredit them because they're solid. Are we going to see a clash of the Titans? Is Cleveland for real? Is Cleveland here again? Is Cleveland on top for real? Here to stay? A team to be reckoned with? Let's start with Cleveland. Ev, do you believe? Is this the believe Cleveland team? Do you believe in this Cleveland team, man? Are they going all the way, man? Put your Knicks fandom aside. I know you got your Knicks shirt on right now, man. Put your Knicks fandom aside right now.
I'll answer this by saying that they're clearly a different team than what they've been. One, what a difference a coaching change makes. You bring Kenny Atkinson in, finds the balance that this team has been lacking in its third year is being constructed the way it is with Mitchell Garland and the two bigs. Just an impressive cohesiveness to them. One of the top offenses in the league, scoring 50% clip from all field goals, 40.6% from three. Like that's 2/3 of a 50-40-90 that players can hardly even capture, and the team is headed in that direction. So I think what has happened is this team was able to wash away the stink of its identity from 2 years. From 2 years ago, a playoff flame out. From last year, the discontent with Donovan Mitchell. They've been able to exercise all of that and come into this season focused on being the absolute best versions of themselves. We're seeing a leap from Evan Mobley after 2 years of stagnation. And Jared Allen, hey, you know, if you make a list of top centers in the league, I won't say top 5, but if he's definitely top 7. He's definitely top 7. And Team USA needs to think about him next go around. But cohesively, this team, this team
instead of Bam, I'm with you.
Instead of Bam,
because it won't be an Embiid. Tell you that much.
It definitely won't be an Embiid. Yes. So the growth of this team over 2 years definitely has me watching them like there's something to reckon with. They're gonna have that home court advantage in the playoffs. I'm pretty certain of the way they've been playing. So, yeah, as dangerous as anybody. I'm believing that they have more of a chance than I did when they coming into the season.
Facts. And they do have some notable wins on this past 10-game winning streak. They beat the Lakers. They beat Denver. They beat Dallas. They beat Golden State. So they're really doing it against top teams. I know we're looking forward to the lineup that they have against the Thunder. So they play the Thunder on the 8th, but then they turn around and play them again a couple days later, and I think that's on the 16th, so about a week or so, a little over a week as well, too. So, Lou, given that matchup right there, what do you think we can learn from this matchup between the two heads of the conferences, the Thunder and the Cavaliers, coming up on the 8th? What do you think we're going to learn from that?
I think we're going to number one, we're going to be in for a good game. But then I think we're going to see something that's going to be important, as Evan pointed out, how good Cleveland offense has been. And then, as I've mentioned before, a big part of OKC's success has been on the defensive end. So we're going to see a good clash between top offense and top defense. And then that's really going to show us, unfortunately, we're going to miss somebody like Chet in this game to really see what OKC, the potential of them could be. But because I would like to see what that those bigs on the Cleveland side versus a Hartenstein Chet combination would look like, right? But I think we're really going to see, which team is going to show out. I mean, Chet I think, is going to be out for another 8 weeks,
Okay.
so will be some time. It'll be about 2 months before we really see Chet. So I mean, we're tracking after All-Star break for us to really see Chet do what he looks like, and him being able to come in and actually gel back with the team with the pieces they've added. But yeah, no, back to that matchup. I'm really looking forward to it, man. I want to see how these guards match up. Right, we see Jalen and Shea Gilly matching up against Garland and Spider. With two very exciting
Who
teams.
who would have thought at the beginning of the season we would have said, "Hey, you know that Thunder Cavalier matchup? Get ready for that." Like nobody
Two
saw
small
this.
market teams. Two small market teams. Real talk. Nobody.
This
really.
was not in the bingo cards, man. But I love it though. That's the one thing I love about the NBA. Like these younger teams can go on a run and really excite and galvanize the whole league, and everybody's on notice. Everybody's watching. I want to switch gears to OKC for a little bit. They just had a notable win against the Boston Celtics, and as Lou pointed out, Chetless, which he's proven to be a solid piece for them, but they did this without Chet. And I will say this: one, I learned two things during that game, watching that game. One, they're still soft, OKC in the paint. As you can see, that's the tactic that the Celtics used early on to get a lead, and they were out by double digits. But OKC's defense definitely prevailed as well too. And two, my boy Ev is right in the sense of how dependable or where is Jalen J Dub's growth at?
Mhm.
Is he somebody you can depend on to be your second scorer? Because what I noticed down the stretch was, as to me, that's what happens in playoff basketballs. Scoring becomes harder. And you really need to have players who can get you a bucket easily. And the Celtics had that in Jason Tatum. And even KP, Kristaps, was getting some work in as well too, which is I think where they missed Chet, because I think he would match up well with Kristaps. But it really showed to me that as great as OKC is defensively, they do have a little holes. And I don't know how much you can depend on Dort and J Dub being your solution when you come down the stretch. So that's one thing I learned from that.
My only disagreement in terms of the paint, because I mean they were almost identical when it comes to points in the paint, right? And I think Hartenstein makes up for that. So I think Boston's 42 to OKC's 40 points in the paint. Hartenstein does help a bit. I mean, he's not. I don't think he's the end all be all solution. I think the tandem of him and Chet will actually be more useful. But Hartenstein has been given some presence in the paint, and also now being the leader on that team in rebounding, which is something that is again something that was needed. They're starting to plug in some of the holes that they need to be able to
Well,
a team that's going to get them over the hump down the stretch.
here's my defense in that. I don't know if we have it, which we didn't prep for this, and we probably won't. I would love to see the breakdown of the points in the paint versus half court versus turnover to points in the paint. Because OKC is known for getting those deflections, which leads to fast breaks, which gives you scores of points in the paint. So I would love to see like the breakdown of that versus how the Celtics are getting it by dumping it down to Kristaps. And what's the other centers? It starts with a K. Kurt. I don't.
Cornette.
Cornette,
Yeah.
thank you. Versus, because he was looking like a Bill Laimbeer down there. He was giving him. He was looking a little Larry Birdish. I'm sorry, wrong. He was looking Larry Birdish down there. That's how soft OKC was looking.
Laimbeer, was he beating him up?
No, but he was though. At first, he was beating him up, but then he started to get his little hooks in. Oh no, relax.
Laimbeer known for.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he was getting his hooks in. But to your point, though, right? I mean, OKC did get us in the points. I just think they get it in different styles. But yet and still, though, I'm still impressed how they were able to overcome it. They didn't lose their identity. They stuck to who they are as a team on both sides of the ball and got through. But to Ev's credit, though, I don't know how much you can do. It's like he said with Memphis when Bane, he was like, how far are you going to go with Bane being your second option? And my question is, how far are the OKC Thunder going to go with Jalen being the second option and Dort possibly or somebody else? And I understand it, the potential of it, right? Because that's essentially what Boston did. They groomed their players until they got to where they're at.
Mhm.
But it's always a gamble with potential. That was only my my thoughts on it, though. But what did you guys see?
Man, I think Chet is really is supposed to be their number 2. So I think until we really see that come to fruition, we're not going to we're going to see that drop off between SGA, and then the current next option, which
So
is
you have Chet as number 2 over Jalen, the options?
I think that's where the team is going to track towards, where Chet is going to be their number 2. And then Jalen will be, and it will then open up the game for Jalen, right, to really be the player that they'll need for OKC. But I don't think that Jalen is supposed to be their number 2 guy, and that's why Chet is there.
So with OKC, and so I was tuned in on 2 games they had. So Friday versus the Knicks, of course, and then Sunday versus the Celtics, and similarities in both games in that the second half, the Thunder defense is what turned it for them in both games. And they did it in 2 different ways, kind of similar, and it goes to what you were saying, huh? So Friday night against the Knicks, it was their depth that shined through, right? Especially against us we're dealing with some injuries. We just didn't have the depth. We never have the depth probably. But Friday night, it was them winning the fast break points. I think they had like 20 more fast break points than we did Friday night. Sunday night, it was points off turnovers. They had like 17 more points off turnovers than they did, than the Celtics did Sunday night. So in both halves, it's 2 different angles of that transition opportunity, that transition offense off of turnovers, where they squeezed out victories. I turn the defense and the offense against 2 quality opponents. To your point, though, Hans, when you get to the playoffs and those opportunities dwindle some and you have to rely more and more on that half-court offense, will they be able to create enough half-court offense to make up for the disparities that won't be there as much in that transition opportunities and points off turnovers? That's why, this team right now is an excellent regular season team with the transcendent player. I think SGA may have taken the lead in the MVP discussion at this juncture, right? But how that will translate in the playoffs, yet to be seen. There's some growing that will still have to be done, despite the amazing depth that they have. You're going to have that second guy step up. Will Chet be ready to be that guy coming off an injury come playoff time? And will Jalen Williams be ready to be that guy based off of kind of a disappointing playoff last year? It'll wait to be seen.
Yeah, man, a lot of what ifs, a lot of potentials to be actualized. Nevertheless, though, these 2 teams are at the top of their conference respectfully. Like, they've earned that. And I don't think it's no longer a question on their strength of schedule, whether they, deserve to be there. I think we can say both the Cavs and the OKC Thunder have earned their spot at the top of their conference and that they're a legit team and a contender. So, all right, guys, let's move on to the last but not least around the league, other teams that are streaking, making moves, not making moves, etc., etc. Let's talk about these New York Knicks, man.
New York.
Sound a little happier when you bring us up. So
wait, hold on. I got a question for you, Evan. Oh,
Go
for
ahead.
you too, Hans. Because now that we talk about the Knicks, now I feel like the dust has settled a little bit post trade. Can you confidently say Knicks won this trade?
Talking about to get Patrick Ewing?
Please do not disrespect
What we
in the
talking
Hall
about?
of Fame.
Thank you guys for joining us here on the.
This guy stinks!
Thank you for
Talking about
joining us here on the 3-on-3 podcast. We appreciate it.
You talking about the best shooting big man in NBA history? What are we talking about?
Oh, self-proclaimed.
I've been places where they say they're the best fish and chips in the world. The world's best fish and chips. So who am I? How do I accurately fact check that? Right?
You're right.
This man says
You're
he's
right.
the best shooting big man in history, and he's shooting 44% from three this year.
That's why you call it cap. That's why you call it all cap.
No, we call it cap, man. But to your question, the Knicks have won this trade hands down so far from the standpoint of the symmetry in which they got the best player in the trade, and he's fitting the best with the team that he's gone to. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I cannot disagree with Ev. It's clear to me.
Nor should
It's
you.
clear to me. It's clear to me.
Jersey, stand up.
All right, relax. We don't claim him. We don't claim him.
Like the light, man.
As much as the big meow is a character, big zesty.
Zesty.
Yeah.
Get it zesty.
As much as the character he is, you can't lie. He's balling, man. He's a perfect fit. He's what you guys have been missing. He doesn't pound the ball and stop play like Julius Randle does, and that's what Minnesota's experiencing over there. He does perfectly everything you need. When Brunson is struggling and being double teamed, you can throw it to him and get a bucket. He's actually, which is what I've been impressive with, stepped up his defense this year a little bit. He's not in danger of fouling out every game. It's every other game now. So, there's been improvement from Cat, and I don't think he's been asked to do as much as he has in the past. So I think it's a perfect fit for you guys. I'm happy for you guys. When the Knicks are playing well, it's good for the league, man. But yeah, Minnesota lost out on this trade. I don't think it's too late for Minnesota to come back and figure things out. I just don't think that they'll get to the level that the Knicks are playing at right now.
And I add this. Here's why. And I always have affinity in my heart for Julius Randle. I appreciate what he did to work, get the Knicks moving in the right direction to where we are now. He deserves credit for that. The bigger issue that Minnesota has is that he's on the last year of his deal, and are they even going to keep him? Or are they going to try to trade him before the trade deadline? The uncertainty in that alone means that you traded a surefire asset for an asset that you may not even keep. Now, we can't leave out Devo. White Dante's been heating up as of late, looking better after a horrid-looking November. He looked much better in December. But I think that's the big thing there, is that did you even trade for an asset that you're definitively going to keep going forward? And that's yet to be seen.
Facts. All right, y'all, let's move on to another team that has been streaking and really out here putting the world on notice still. Here's what confuses me about this team. I still don't believe it.
In your pause.
Yeah, no, I still don't believe it. These Houston Rockets, I still don't believe it. It really is. I just don't get it. How is this being done? What wizardry are they doing and completing right now?
When you lose Neil Long, okay? You win wherever else you can.
Hey, you gotta figure it out, man.
He's doing everything he can to redeem himself.
He's making lemonade, man. When life gives you lemon, he's making lemonade. That's what you're saying, Lou.
All this salacious activity in this pod.
Hey, man, it's that type of pod. This
that's doing
man.
it. Okay, we ain't changing him to act up. We just here to report on it.
Yeah, man. Ev, help me figure this out, man. What wizardry, what black magic are the Rockets doing right now to be second in the West right now? 23-12.
Well, let's start off with they're healthy overall. I do believe Jabari Smith just got hurt recently, but I mean, Şengün, who they lost last year, is healthy. Van Vliet Jalen Green's healthy, and Jalen Green looks better than he did last year. Still inconsistent from a shooting standpoint, but he's ascending as he was as he ended last year. Identity, we joke about Ime Udoka, but he brings a toughness to the team that they needed and the accountability that they needed. And so when you have identity, you have health, you have excellent defense, one of the top toughest defense, third lowest points allowed in the league, top rebounding team in the league. I mean, you're building an identity there that is showcasing, is maximizing the talent that they have at this point. And let's not forget, they're also still a trade candidate that could potentially bring in some additional pieces as well.
By additional pieces, we're hoping Jimmy Butler.
Depends on what color he does his hair. But let's not forget the Aaron Fox also out there.
Hey, look, trade Jabari for De'Aaron. Who says no?
Oh
no. But jokes aside, Evan touched on the main points. Actually, yeah, basically the main points that are why Houston is budding so well right now. Having a coach that they respect, that's gonna be like, hey guys, this is what you need to do. And on top of that, being healthy, bro. Your best ability is your availability. Sengun, who I still to this day am saying is the guy for that Houston team that they need to continue to build around. Him being healthy and on the floor has been a major catalyst to how well they're doing. And if you were talking about top big men in the league right now,
he's not. He's in that top 7. Don't make me call off the 7, but he's in that top 7.
I'm just saying, he might be creeping on that 5. Okay, he might be creeping on that 5. So I mean, man, I love to see it. Plus, the young guys that they have, man, they drafted well. You know what I mean? And I know Pop was gonna be like, go ahead, talk about your boy Thompson beating up Tyler Hero. No, I mean, because he's doing very well on the court. You know what I mean? But yeah, they drafted well, man. They have some solid, great pieces, and I think that they're going to. I mean, so long that they continue on this stretch, and plus, a lot of these guys. The only person they really pay like that is Green, right? So they still have a lot of money to spend. They still got a lot of money to spend.
Well, I think VanVleet's either expiring this year or he has an option for next year. And so that's the one where it's like, okay, we can use this 30, 40 million to move somebody else into that cap space. So that's what gives them a lot of flexibility. I think VanVleet and Green are the only big money contracts that they have.
Yep.
I'm just upset that Dylan Brooks is thriving in Houston.
I knew you were going to say
personally.
Oh Lord!
When he signed with them, I was like, "Oh, this is the beginning and the end of Dylan Brooks. He's going to be another."
Everybody thought he was going to China. Now look at him.
And he's
Playing
over
for the
here.
Sharks.
He's getting carried by this great young athletic Houston team.
I mean, he's the coach. He's Udoka on the floor, isn't he?
Exactly. You need an enforcer. You need a culture guy that's going to be on the floor, and he's the right person to pick up.
He's annoying.
How about
Draymond?
How about a 13 trade?
Took the words out of my mouth. You literally took it from my brain.
No, I'm not discounting that. Draymond's annoying. Listen, Draymond's top 5 annoying. Okay, so is Dylan Brooks top 5 annoying. Like, don't get me wrong.
Top 2.
Not every
top 2.
but some. But
yeah, him and Draymond are 1 and 2. But yeah, realistically, but there's no team that goes far that doesn't have a player like that on their team, and not only that, a more veteran guy on their team. So
an annoying player.
Can the Rockets do a 3-team
culture
trade?
guy?
Can the Rockets do a 3-team trade with since
they're not trading with the Lakers? They're not trading with the Lakers.
Listen, I'm just saying Jimmy Butler to Houston. You know, he can fit in that cap space easily. You send over Fred VanVleet over to the Heat, and I don't know, just throw the Lakers Steven Adams.
Here we go.
I don't know, just off the top of my brain, just
throw him in there. I don't know. They want Gabe Vincent. They throw him in there.
Season savior. But again, we're not falling for it. Another attempt to weave the Lakers into this podcast. Focus,
Tell me.
gentlemen. Focus.
All right, y'all. Last but not least, Boston Celtics, the defending NBA champs. They're still second in the East. They're still beating teams handedly. They're shooting outrageously from three. They're like, it's crazy. When you watch it, it doesn't feel like they're jacking up a lot of threes. When you see the numbers, they're jacking up a lot of threes. And then they're going again. Are the Celtics still as formidable as last year? Or are they still the ones to beat in the East?
I mean, can we say not? They number 2. You know what I mean? They're doing their thing. And to your point about threes, I mean, if it wasn't because they had an abysmal 3-point shooting night, you know, they may have not had such a shellacking from the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think what they shot, nine from 45 or 46, which is
46 3-pointers is wild, but go ahead.
It is. You know what I mean? But I think what's it called? I mean, but OKC, they hit, I think it was something like maybe 13 for 38. But yeah, still, they're shooting almost 10 more threes than
Christian.
than
I need you to put up that meme. What happened to the game that I loved? When we talk about this, because this is wild. But go ahead.
Nah, I mean, yeah, it is crazy, but that's also part of how they get you. And the game is a game of runs, and when they're up big, man, it's tough. It's tough because even when they have their lows, it doesn't take them long to be right back into it. And when you have two of the best players in the league with Tatum and Brown, and either of them can go off when one is down, and when they both are on fire, good luck. And with KP coming back.
Yeah, but KP's KP. He'll be back. He'll be gone. He'll be back. He'll be gone. There you go. Thank you, Christian. I'm just saying, man. It's just, but you know what they're doing is like they really have some solid others who can hit. Like unseasoned Curry, he be hitting, bro.
Say, White
unseasoned. No, that's not unseasoned Curry.
Oh,
unseasoned, yeah, unseasoned Curry he just comes in and it's on fire, and averaging 20 like for a stretch off the bench. Like, who are you, sir? Who are you? Like, why are you playing like this? Who put a battery in your back? Like, who
they put money.
Who summoned you? Who summoned you, sir? So it's just, I don't know. I don't
know. We can't discredit. I mean, they just have a well constructed team.
They really do, and it's annoying. Yeah. That's what it is. I'm just hating. It's annoying. Okay, it's annoying.
What's funny about you calling it annoying is that I agree. One, if it weren't this team specifically, right? When you think about like the 08 the 08 Suns, right? When you think about like the 08 Suns or 7-8 Suns, Steve Nash Suns, how they transcended basketball in a way that they played offensively. When you think about the Warriors and how Steph primarily and Clay like shifted the way basketball is played, but that was more so because of the singular talent of the player. This Celtics lineup and offense and how they play is kind of like the ultimate culmination of how the game has changed. To get 5 players on the court that can all shoot threes and to have an offense that efficiently prioritizes threes over twos from all positions. We've seen it done very poorly from anywhere you go play basketball, right? To any mediocre team in the league, right? To college basketball. But have we ever seen the last decade of what basketball has turned to done this efficiently from an entire team? If it weren't the Celtics, we'd be talking about this offensive style like 10, 20 years from now, that they broke the code of how to play the new way of basketball. And what's just going to be interesting, I mean, they've been injured a bit. You know, Drew Holiday was out for a while. KP's been in and out for a while. I mean, they're still, you know, probably the team to beat because they get everybody's best because they're the defending champs. So it'll still be interesting to see what they look like in the playoffs. But I agree, outside of them and probably just their personalities being annoying, I mean, from the coach on down there, they're annoying. But the brand of basketball is literally like they've made it to the upper realm of how today's basketball is played, and it's kind of fascinating.
Yeah. I think also another aspect of that is because as opposed to those other teams you mentioned, their ability to play both sides of the ball, right? When you have a premier defender like a Drew Holiday, even White, what he's been able to do on defensive end, and when Brown is turns it up on defensively and so on. What they're able to do on both sides is, you know, what we didn't see with the Suns, and we didn't see with the Warriors. I mean, these guys were just pretty much, but just look to outscore you. And nah, man, these are teams they'll do that run and gun with you, and then as we can see, what we're talking about as opposed to OKC. When it comes down to that playoff basketball, can they grind it out on a half-court game? And then they're able to do that as well.
Yeah, facts. I'm still here for their demise. Call it what you want. I'm here.
Trust me,
here for their.
Evan, as a true Knicks fan, would love to see that as well. He would love to see that.
Got plans for him in round 2. Don't worry, I got you.
Okay, got you. All right, guys. Before we wrap up, I want you guys to marvel at this wonderful GM move of the Miami Heat. After coming off a championship appearance in the bubble, you want to know what moves the Miami Heat made? Because they were close to beating the Lakers. You want to know what moves they made?
Let's go. Let this hate in your heart go.
They gave Jimmy Butler a washed-up Trevor Ariza. They gave him a hobbled Victor Oladipo. And they gave him Max Strus. Get out of my face. Get out of my face, okay? This is going to get you over the top. Get out of my face, all right? And on that note, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you being here. We love it. We're the #1 basketball podcast in the universe. Continue to support us. We couldn't do it without you. Appreciate it. Hit us up on our socials. See you guys next week.
Hey, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, give us a thumbs up. If you really, really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button and the notification button so you can keep up with us every week. Be sure to follow us on all our socials at the 3on3 Podcast. Hey, got a question, topic you want us to talk about? Hit us up on our email at 3on3podcast@gmail.com. We appreciate y'all. Tune in next week.